Hey book friends, how's it going? It's me, Kat. Thanks so much for stopping by today's video. If you're new here, my name is Kat and I love to chat about all the romance books that I read, and I like to support the authors that I read by talking about them and their books on this channel. It's my little passion project. I read, like I said, primarily romance novels, but actually I've been getting some really great recommendations lately of non-romance books. So I might actually veer off the romance path this summer and read some other books and bring those to you. I would appreciate you taking a moment to subscribe, and if you like the video, give it a thumbs up. It will not only help my channel, but also the author that we're going to talk about today, which is Nikki Ashton. I am going to be sporting the glasses today. The book we're going to talk about today is called Love Struck. It is the follow-up to Hate Struck, which I brought to you, I think it was last week. It is the Maddison High School series. I don't know if it's a duet. I don't know if she has planned more for some of these characters or if it's just going to be these two books. I'm always down to read whatever she writes. I like Nikki so much. I read, which I talked about in the Hate Struck video, one of her previous books, but I have a bunch of her books on my to be read list. So I will include the video for Hate Struck, which you will want to watch first before you watch this video, in the comments below, and also I will link Samuel, which is her other book that I read that I loved. So let's talk about Love Struck. It continues right where Hate Struck left off. We know that it was a pretty huge cliffhanger, and I have a love-hate relationship with cliffhangers, as most of us readers do. I was surprised at the cliffhanger. I was surprised kind of the subject of it. I expected the book to go kind of a different way. It's a bully romance. Adam is our resident bully, and Sarah is the object of his affections. What comes to be his affections. Adam had started to redeem himself in my eyes a bit by the end of Hate Struck, and I was anxious to see, because Nikki had given us some surprises, well, surprises in my book. That was kind of funny. No, it wasn't. What I considered surprises, and so I was anxious to see where she was going to continue with that. Adam's long-lost father has re-entered the picture, and re-enters in a way that was quite shocking. And I didn't know where we were going with that, because he's tied even more intricately to the story. I was like, oh my God, okay, that's, talk about rocking your world. And let's remember, I think they're seniors in high school. Think about this. I mean, not only is it like a teenage romance, bully romance, but now we have these really major things going on in these characters' lives. Adam's situation and the way he grew up in his relationship with his mom and his now stepdad and his mom's previous boyfriends were not good. I talked about previously how the shining light in Adam's life is Roger, his current stepdad. I adored Roger so much, and boy, did he continue in this book to really be an amazing character. In walks this, long lost dad that Adam hasn't seen in 13 years, and he also is this horrible person that Adam knows that hurt Sarah. And oh my God, talk about your heart clenching and your stomach feeling like you want to throw up. How could Adam choose? How could Adam figure out how to have this relationship with Sarah and all the young love feelings that he's feeling? And he had started to change in Hate Struck, and I loved seeing that change. It made my sensitive heart feel a little bit better about him, and I really thought that he was going to be so promising, and then he gets literally smacked in the head by his dad's return. I saw the torment Nikki had us feeling, the torment that poor Adam is feeling, and what he knows about his dad, not only personally, but through Sarah. And oh my gosh, how could he possibly hang out with his dad knowing what he knows, and then turn around and go hang out with Sarah knowing what he knows? And how could they have a relationship knowing that? Do you see what I'm saying? It was very complex. And all those feelings I was feeling right along with them. Sarah, God love her, she continued to be this quiet strength when life knocked her down again. This person showing up, Glenn is his name, him showing up rocks her to her core, of course. And, you know, I wanted to know what his plan was with her. You know, I had all these questions about why was he coming back into Adam's life at that time? And oh my gosh, why is he coming back into Sarah's life at that time? And poor Sarah, she just, it was just terrible. It was torturous. Something that Adam struggles with is not only is he finding himself as a person and not liking the person that he used to be and wanting to change. And now he struggles with everything he knows about his dad, and he's so sad because he doesn't want to be like him. And he has a very hard relationship with his mom. He doesn't want to be like her either, and he wants to be better. And Sarah's love and belief in him helped him start to be better and see that he could be better. And now in walks this horrible person, and he's like, my DNA is screwed. And oh, I just felt so bad for him, because wouldn't you automatically kind of think the same way? Like, these are my parents. I'm a result of them. And how can I not be like my father, who's a horrible person? I was really glad because, I mean, it showed a vulnerable part to Adam that I needed to be able to keep growing with him as a character and continue to keep my heart open to him. That moving along through the book, and even though I wasn't necessarily agreeing with the decisions that Adam was making, I understood him and why he was making them. And then poor Sarah, I mean, she also had to make some tough decisions. And I understood her 100% why she was making those decisions. But something that never wavered was their want to do the right thing for each other and wanting to do right by each other. Sarah not wanting Adam to have to choose, but yet she had to stand up for herself. And how could she ever have any kind of, you know, friendly relationship with his father, and yet she's dating and in love with his son, right? Those parts were so emotional, and they just gripped at my heartstrings, and especially Adam. And I think it's because I was still wrapping my head around Adam. I talked about in the video for Hate Struck, like, my sensitive heart has a lot of trouble with bully romances. I was starting to really like him and Adam and his metamorphosis, and I just wanted that to continue. Oh my God, it was so much. So, you know, I always like to share some things, you know, passages that I highlight in the book that mean something to me as I'm reading them. This is something that Sarah said to Adam, and this is Adam's reaction to it. But he's manipulative and clever. He will say things that will make you feel at ease with him. He will tell you lies, and then he will domineer you until you have no choice left. I drew in a sharp breath because at that moment I wasn't sure whether she was talking about me or my dad. So remember, Adam, before he gave into his feelings for Sarah, was really a crappy guy. He manipulated everybody. He was a user. He was a bully, you know, plain and simple. And when he said that, my heart just hurt for him. Chapter 12 was so... I teared up through that whole chapter. Oh my gosh. It was just very, very emotional. And when you read the book, you'll know what I'm talking about. You know, you get to those chapters in books where it's like something's got to give. And this was that chapter. And remember, I said that they're so worried about doing right by each other. So there were two things that I wanted to share with you regarding that. So Adam says, I will not put you through a relationship with me when I have the DNA of two people who are monsters in their own rights. You know, he's self-aware enough at that point that he doesn't want to put her through it. And I loved him for that. And I was sad for him for that. And then Sarah says to him, "You're right, Adam," I said breathlessly. "You will always be wondering, but now it will be about the goodness you could have had in your life, not the hurt that might never come." She's so smart. She's an old soul and wise beyond her years. I really liked Sarah. I absolutely loved and hated the way Nikki wrote Glenn, Adam's long-lost father. Oh my God, she wrote him so well. He was so gross. He was so the ick factor. He was slimy. He was scary. He was creepy. And I did not know, literally until we get to the point where we know what his point is, what his point was. And I loved that throughout this whole book, I was on the edge of my seat waiting to know. I wanted to know why he was there. I wanted to see that there was more to why he showed up. And it was a shock, not only to me, but to Adam and to Sarah. I loved that Nikki kept giving us surprises like that in these two books. Absolutely amazing. I love a good epilogue at the end of a book, and this book had a great epilogue. It takes place 13 years later. Oh, I love that. We got to see them so far in the future, because remember, these are teenagers when they meet. You know, they're seniors-ish in high school. They have a lot of life in front of them. And even though I figured that, and I hoped that they stayed together and they had their happily ever after everything they went through, I worried that when I read and it said 13 years later, I was like, oh no, don't tell me they didn't make it. You know, 13 years later and they're both okay but not together. Oh, I was so nervous. But it was a great epilogue. It was not disappointing at all. As always, let me know if you have read Hate Struck or Love Struck in the comments section below. I would definitely recommend you picking up these books. I always include the link to the book below in the comments section, so if you want to pick that up, I would highly recommend you do that. I also include in the description box below my social media links, so make sure you come over and say hi to me over there. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today, guys. I'll see you soon. Bye.